Hello guys, Set back here again, and this time it's a game, we've got a few games for you today, with Bakugo and his clone army. Twice and Toga in the setup, played by Insane Frosty and UV. These guys are both amazing players in general, and they are so good with their characters, their clone characters. So you were going to see Bakugo leading the clone army today, because with these two on my team, you know, doing what they're doing while I'm doing what I'm doing, mate, you could almost say this is like a hidden meta pick or something. Again, I haven't been here for a month, so maybe it's not a hidden meta pick, and maybe this is something that people know, but I'm telling you, when you have a Toga and a Twice on your team, coupled with someone who's like a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent damage dealer, played by someone who's really good at, you know, taking opportunities and, you know, punish timing. You have a very... I'm so gutted that I didn't get that, Gamma. Not because I deserved it, because I didn't. I clearly missed it. But you could see how close I was with my line of thinking. Like, I knew what I wanted to do. She just wasn't exactly where I pictured her to be. But she was so close. But yeah, like I was saying, the idea here of this, again, I don't know if this is something people know or not, because I haven't been here for a month, but when you have a bunch of Twice clones running around with a Toga doing all of her, you know, punishing, pressuring stuff, while also potentially looking like one of your teammates on the other team, and then on top of the both of that, you have a Bakugo trying to just smash you with AP shot and his grenade. That is an absolute recipe for disaster if you were on an opposing team. So yeah, this clone army, like I said, you get a very good reliable damage dealer, and then you pair them up with Toga and Twice. And both of these two characters, you know, assuming they're being played well, they're going to take up so much concentration and focus of the enemy team, trying to deal with all the clones, trying to deal with Twice's funky movement, trying to deal with you know, Toga's weird movement and knife rushes, and then, oh, she's looking like my teammate now. Is that my teammate? Is that not my teammate? I don't know. And then on top of all of that, you got a Bakugo like me just waiting in the wings to shoot you dead when an opportunity arises. Humongous effort to overcome. Humongous. So yeah, this is a really good situation to be in on the bright side of it, and a very dark endeavor to be on the shady end of it. Man, I'm telling you, you gotta do something about Mount Lady though. Thing is, I like Mount Lady a lot as a character, but boy, she is such an annoying character in this game. Like I said, this game will never make me dislike the characters in the show if they're busted or stupid in this game. But boy, some of them really do try to push that limit, you know? And I think Mount Lady is one of the biggest ones for it. But she's cool. Just, yeah, I don't know. It's for me, I don't know if it's necessarily a Mount Lady thing as it is so much a stun thing. Maybe that's why. Because Denki's the same thing, you know? Denki's the same kind of thing. It's just that Denki has a little bit of a different way to go about it. There's different factors. For me, I think the biggest thing with Mount Lady and how she works is the hyper armor. The fact that she gets hyper armor on, you know, the stun moves is the craziness of it. You know, that she can kind of just like run in there and be like, hey, I see what you're trying to do, but fuck you, get stunned. You know, just go straight through it, and you're thinking, come on, man, let's put a pin in that as soon as possible. I think if you're gonna have hyper armor, you shouldn't be able to stun people. Just, you know, you either do your damage or you don't. I'm on 4 KOs and 2 assists already. Oh, look at that. I have not missed. Look at all the clones running around, man. I have not missed. I have not missed Darby in tight quarters though. Darby in tight spaces, not a fun combination. See, if you've got good timing on your not cooldowns, your resource uses, you can basically like get into battle as soon as possible. It's kind of risky, like, you know, the way I did it there, just like dropping down. My shields haven't come back yet, but you know, that's where you gotta take gambles, and in that way you can get back to your teammates quicker. Is there anything more traumatic than going to use a group heal when you know everyone needs it and then getting shot in the middle of it? That is the most, you know, worrying thing that can probably happen to you in this game. The clone army. I feel like Palpatine or something from Star Wars. Got all these clones with me. You might be wondering, why did I stop my my drinking of that thing? Because I was about to finish doing it, but then I kind of stopped it and I restarted it. You might think, why did you do that for? I did it because I didn't feel like my teammates' life were low enough to warrant me actually using it. You know, so I was nearly about to use it, and I looked down, and these guys aren't messed up enough. You know, like some sadistic teammate. My teammate aren't nearly dead enough yet. You know, I needed to see them screaming more. I needed, you know, I needed them to be low enough to the point where it actually makes sense for me to use that. That's why I backed off. I'm like, let me see Twice get rocked first. You know, let me see Twice get shot in the head, maybe 2 more times, and then I'll heal him. You know, it's one of those ones. Just wanted to see them take a bit more damage first, and then you can use it. Because in a way, some people might be saying, well, does that make any sense? They're gonna get healed or they're not? Yeah, but if you think about it, whatever gave them that damage is like 1 minus cooldown for the enemy. Say it was like an Ida and he used his beta. He might have had 1 beta, and now he's got no beta, and now my teammates get healed to full. But if he still had that beta, my teammates get healed to full, and then he uses that beta, and then they're not at full anymore. But in the way that I did it, my teammates still have the same amount of health because they were healed by the group heal. But now the difference is Ida has no beta left. I feel like I can't really explain that any clearer, but I also feel like the same way, maybe some people aren't going to get that, to which I just have to say, too bad, become smarter. But for those of you that do know what I'm saying, I think it's worthwhile. Yeah, the clone army continues. See, I mean, these players are just so occupied with the clones, with Toga. You know, the Stormtrooper playstyle from these two is just going absolutely off, and because of it, I'm allowed to sort of do what I want. Like, these guys, they can't really coordinate against me as well as they might do normally, because they're not looking for 3 people anymore. They're looking for maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe 6, depending on how many clones are out there. And on top of that, if Toga is disguising herself, then they also have to deal with, you know, possible friendly fire. So it's kind of overloading their brain. Bakugo's basic combo is so terrible that in instances like that, like, you don't even want to try it. You don't even, it doesn't even come to your head, you know, just thinking, that's not even a possibility for me right now. That dude was so lucky. If I had gotten to him just maybe like 2 seconds, maybe not even 2 seconds sooner, he wouldn't have gotten that heal. Madades. Plus chaos. I think Darby's got the coolest saying of that. Look how dreadful that is, man. You'd be better off just saying nasty words in Darby's direction than than using Bakugo's actual basic combo. You'll get more damage done that way. Just from saying mean words. Got that KDA of about 12 right now. 9 KOs. 3 assists. Is it weird that I kind of get... I get kind of annoyed when I see people say kills in this game. Because it's not kills. Like, we know it's KOs. I don't know, it just bothers me. You know, when people are like, 10 kills. I'm like, you didn't kill anyone in this game. They're they're KOs, brother. Clickbait. They're KOs. Don't lie now. You know, it's like those murderers when they get caught and they start taking credit for all of these murders that they didn't actually do. And 10 years later, they're like, you took credit for this murder, but you didn't do it. Why? And they're like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You didn't kill that person. Why did you say they killed him? It's that kind of energy, man. You're KOing people. You're not killing people. This is My Hero Academia here. This is... They do kill people in that show, but not often. I don't know. It's such a small thing to get caught up on, but when I see it, it kind of bothers me. I don't know why. Look at that punching stain in the face. Like, to be fair, I say they're not KOs, motherfucker, but if it's stain, they probably were kills. You know, they probably were kills. Anyway, on to the next. Alright, game 2. With the Stormtrooper meta. I know there's no mods in this game, but that would be an amazing mod. If Twice could look like a Stormtrooper from... Not even a Stormtrooper, sorry. Clone Trooper. Looking like a Clone Trooper from Star Wars. How many times have I said Stormtrooper this video? Because that's technically wrong. I should have been saying Clone Trooper. I don't know. If I didn't say Stormtrooper before, great. If I did, my apologies to the Star Wars nerds in here. When you guys were growing up, did you like Star Wars or Star Trek? Because typically, it's like one or the other with a lot of people. You know, people either grew up liking Star Wars or they grew up liking Star Trek. And it's very rare for me, in my personal experience, to see someone who liked both. To the point where, you know, it's worth mentioning. Yeah, you know what? I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I saw some of the Star Treks. That doesn't count. Ain't no 1 foot in, 1 foot out nonsense. You either love Star Trek as well, or shut the hell up. You know? No one cares about you watching 2 out of the 4 movies or whatever it is. You either saw them or you didn't. Alright? Me or Star Wars? I always thought, listen, I'm not saying it is, but what I am saying is, when I was a kid, Star Trek, that's a funny adjective. Star Trek seemed so lame in comparison to Star Wars. I'm looking over at Star Wars, a guy with black and red skin, he's got horns on his head, double-bladed red lightsaber, and you got Darth Vader walking around like, you know, and then there's, you know, hey, my name's Luke, I got a robot hand, my 2 best friends are robots, and that would, you know, normally mean that they're, you know, monotone pieces of technology that don't have any feelings, but these guys aren't. Apparently, every droid in Star Wars has emotions, you know, it's completely absurdity. But it was so interesting and so fun. You look over at Star Trek and there's like 4 guys sitting in sitting in like a cockpit, just like having some conversation about, can we go at light speed or not? I don't even know. You know, it just seemed like the most boring thing, you know, ever in comparison to Star Wars. And again, I'm not saying that it was. I'm not saying it was, but I'm saying from my perspective as a kid, Star Trek just looked so shit. You know, there's no other way to put it. It just looked so crap. Compared to Star Wars, you got the Force, there's lightsabers, there's bounty hunters, Mandalorians with helmets. You're like, oh my god, this is the coolest stuff ever. You just do it like a quick 1-2 over at Star Trek, and you know, it's just like these bunch of guys looking like they were in, you know, alien school uniforms, standing on the ship, just sort of having a bit of a disagreement over something. And like, what the hell is this? This is terrible. But again, not that I'm saying it was, but just from the perspective of a kid growing up, it just didn't look good when you would compare it to Star Wars. And I was always thinking like, why does anyone even like this? But I guess if you was like an adult at that time, maybe that's a completely different mindset for you. Maybe because you're an adult at the time, Star Trek gives you like so many things that Star Wars didn't give you, and the nuance of it, and maybe it was more, you know, I don't know, mature, blah 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 blah. Maybe that was the case. Because yeah, Star Trek is very successful. Like they still make things for it, so you know, I guess you know people were watching it and enjoying it and saying, "Hey man, this is good." While probably everyone around them labeled them as a nerd and never invited them to anything. But you know, it was one of those things where I just always thought Star Trek looked horrible, and Star Wars was like way cooler. But now I guess it's even because they both suck in current day. So you know, GG's to both of them. I guess you both shit the bed in the end. That dude, that Darby was literally as close to death as you could be. I mean, he was walking down the white tunnel, he was shaking hands with the angels like, you know, I'm happy to be here, and they're like, we're happy to have you, and he's like, yeah, where do I go? Where do I start? And then they're like, just, you know, go down the left there, speak to God, and then as that happened, All Might just shot me in the forehead with a blast from his knuckles, and it stopped my entire takedown. Which was basically done. It was basically done. But then again, it was Darby, so maybe it was that whole thing, but instead he was just going down to hill. Yeah, this All Might, he has it in for me after that. He's like, how the hell do you think you can show your face around here again after nearly turning my teammate to smithereens? That clone army doing work right now. This guy playing twice. To my knowledge, it's the first time I've like, I'll say first session I've ever played with him. Because obviously I played with him the previous game and a few games afterward. But yeah, he was very good twice. You know, doing some really good work there. Just goes to show you, when you have a good twice on your team, not only can they survive really well, but they can just create so many distractions for you. So you can go away and heal. So you can what's the word I'm looking for? So you can take opportunity of situations, you know, get some sneaky hits in on people. Abunezu. There's nothing worse than having a full inventory and then seeing like so much stuff you want on the ground, you know? It's like if you were that fat kid in Willy Wonka. And he goes into the factory and like he's seen all the stuff he wants to eat, and then Willy Wonka's like, just leave it alone, mate. And he's like, no, actually, I got a golden ticket, so fuck you. You know, and he starts going eating and everything, and then you know Willy Wonka's like, oh fuck. And the Oompa Loompas are like, we don't really like this guy being here. And the fat kid's just munching away. He's happy to be there. No one else is happy to have him there, but he don't care. He's having food. It's kind of the way with fat people. They're generally okay with anything as long as they're fed in the situation of it. And in that situation, he was fine with it. He was just, again, he was just happy to be there. There's chocolate, there's this, there's that. You know, who gives a damn? Saying that, did that Willy Wonka origin movie ever come out? The one, I think Timothy Chalamet was playing him. I didn't watch it, and I didn't follow it. So I don't know if it came out or not. I think it was just called Wonka, which is funny because every time I would just like glance at it, like this on our trailer for Wonka or, you know, Wonka release date, blah, blah, blah. Just my brain would automatically think it said Wanker, just because I'm British, I guess. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I didn't like that. I'm one of these guys. Sometimes a bit of mystery goes a long way. And we don't need to know every character's backstory, and I think when it came to like, you know, Willy Wonka, at least in the Johnny Depp version, because that's the one I saw, you know, when I was growing up, the cool thing about that movie and, you know, that whole vibe of the movie, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, is you never really knew like kind of what vibe he was on because he was so strange. And he was so odd, and you didn't know where he came from. You didn't know what his origin really was. You didn't know kind of how his brain worked. You just knew that he was this mysterious guy, very strange, and he had a chocolate factory. You know, you didn't quite know what the depth of it was for Willy Wonka. You know, was he a serial killer? Was he a pedophile? You don't know. Did he like children in more ways than one? You couldn't really tell, because when you looked at this guy, you didn't know what was going on in his head. You didn't know where he came from, what he went through, where did he find these strange 3-foot men that were dressed like Teletubbies, seemingly willingly dressing like Teletubbies and working in this factory. You had no idea what the scope of it was, what the depth of it was. Is this Willy Wonka guy a freak? Is Willy Wonka a freak? Or is he just a misunderstood, mildly autistic guy? Like, what is the, what is his case? You didn't know. And I think that's what made so interesting about him. And then, I don't know, you gotta make an origin movie about him? No, sometimes it's good to be a bit mysterious with a character, because it makes everything else more interesting, because you just don't know what exactly is going on there. But if you've seen the origin movie, it's like, oh yeah, his parents made fun of him, made him a bit weird, socially awkward. He got pushed into a locker 3 times in 1 week by the trademark school jock. You're like, this guy's kind of a loser now. Not really feeling it. Screw him and his chocolate factory. Don't want to watch it. Keep your golden tickets. Keep your golden tickets. But I don't know. A bit of mystique for a character goes a long way. Not everything needs to be, delving into. Same thing with the Joker movie. I don't need a Joker origin movie. We don't need to see how the Joker became the Joker. We got a little backstory in Batman, and that was it. It's enough for us. We don't need to know the ins and outs of him. Mystery makes the Joker. I'm going to go into this more later. Next video or game. Okay, we're back in there. Michael Myers. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say most people watching this video right now either haven't seen the Halloween movies or don't care about them, which is fine. You're allowed to not see them. It's okay. But with that one, let me just give you another example. Michael Myers, evil character, evil guy, doesn't speak, doesn't make a noise really, just goes around stabbing people to death. Why? Because he wants to. What do people put it down as? Him just being pure evil. And that was enough, because he was a freak in a mask, causing mayhem. You didn't need to know any more than that. That's what added to Michael Myers. Just this big hulking dude turning up, peeking around corners like he's some sort of pervert, but turns out he doesn't want to fuck you. He wants to kill you. He's just a freak that way. And that was enough for us. But then they did a remake. This is years and years and years ago now, like the noughts, I think. Rob Zombie, he made 1 and 2. Dude should be given a prison sentence just for those movies. They were so bad. And yeah, like in that one, he went into why Michael Myers was that way. Michael Myers, he grew up, he was bullied, the kids at school were making fun of him, his parents didn't like him. Man, why are you making this feared, almost supernatural, actually, yeah, an actual supernatural serial killer? Why are you trying to make him look like a loser, like a weakling, like some buffoon who couldn't take care of himself in school? Now you want me to believe he's killing everyone up and down the place? Some characters don't need to be humanized, or they don't need to be taken, so microscopically to the point where there's no mystery around them anymore. That's why I really liked it when they came back to the newer movies that they've done for Halloween. They just kept his origin the same. Why does he kill people? No reason, mate. He's just evil. That is enough. Same with the Joker. I don't need to know this Joker didn't get accepted by a woman he liked, and he offered her out for dinner, she said no, and it made him up. Man, you're making the Joker sound like a goddamn making him sound like a fool. And I'm not even really a Joker guy. I don't really care about the Joker, to be honest with you. But it's just an example. And yeah, same thing back to that Wonka. We didn't need a Wonka origin movie. Ain't no one sitting there at home saying, you know what I need right now? What do you need, mate? I need a Willy Wonka origin story, because I'm a bit worried. You were worried? What were you worried about? I just didn't know if this guy was a child predator or not when I was watching the old Willy Wonka movies, because he seemed kind of weird. I think I'm going to need to get that cleared up. One movie showing his origin, please. No. It added to those Willy Wonka, at least the one I saw Johnny Depp, where you didn't know really what was going on in his brain. You didn't really know if this guy was putting people in the chocolate. You know, you don't know if he was feeding people to those Oompa Loompas, because again, he was just such a weird dude. But that's what made it interesting, and it made it work. We didn't need to know anymore. What does this all have to do with My Hero Ultra Rumble, you may ask? Nothing. You just like hearing me talk about stuff. Thank you for that, by the way. Don't forget, guys, you should be watching the advertisements as well. But not all of the advertisements, because it helps me out when you watch the advertisements. But you never have to watch the ones that are like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Those advertisements, they're just taking the mick. They're just being stupid. But, you know, them 5-second advertisements, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, anywhere up to like 30 seconds. If you guys can watch those ads for me, that goes a long way for me, because I get paid for these body ads. You guys probably don't know this, but you can actually subscribe to my channel, like, or become a member, join it as they call it, and you can use some emotes in the comments, and that costs you some money. But I barely ever bring that up, because I know you guys ain't gonna do that. But what you can do, it doesn't cost you a penny, just watch the advertisements. Again, if they're like 2 minutes long, don't watch them. No one wants to be watching no 2-minute advertisements. But you know, the ones that are like 30 seconds or less, just let those ones play out for me. It really does help me out, and make all the uploads more worthwhile, because then at least I kind of get something out of it, you know. But of course you don't have to if you don't want to. Me and my clone army. I'm telling you, man. I have never felt more free in a game than playing with this Twice and this Toga. Like, people are so so worried about this dude's, you know, barrage of lookalikes that you kind of just get to do what you want almost, unless, you know, you get fucking assaulted in the corner like I was doing it by that Deku. But then again, if that happens, probably the clones are gonna come to my aid, you know. Order 66 on all heroes. That was another Star Wars reference there. See, when I was throwing those bombs, I really thought that dude was gonna like come out onto them right as I threw him, but he just didn't. He was like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna go there. I don't know how that ice didn't hurt me, but I'm glad for it. So you guys can probably see, we're at all of the talking, if you have been watching the gameplay, just how much leeway you can get as a character with good mobility and good punish from at least mid-range distance on the enemies, while having this clone meta on your side, you know. They're going to be so occupied with the slicing and dicing Toga, shape-shifting as well on top of all of that. And then they're going to be occupied with Twice, becoming 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, either with himself or the people he's gotten down. And then there's you on top of all of that, jumping around the place, shooting people left and right, taking absolutely no prisoners. And that is always going to be a hard time for any team, as long as you are all doing your jobs. So there is, again, I don't know if you guys already know about a meta like that or not, but I guess you could say it's the clone team meta, where you get to kind of do what you want as long as you take your timings well and position yourself accordingly. Well done, Bakugo, and well done to the Toga, and well done to the Twice. Very fun there. Lots of KOs, lots of assists, and of course, lots of nonsense spoken by myself as usual. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to sub if you haven't already. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, show this to your friends. I like to think I'm one of the more unique My Hero Ultra Rumble creators, just because when you watch a video of mine, you never really do know what I'm going to talk about. You know, I could just comment on what's happening in the game, but sometimes that gets boring, and you don't know what you need to hear until you hear it. Or maybe you think, this guy just talks crap and I've had enough of it. Twitch, I get that. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Thanks for being here. Season 4, not too far away. It's gonna be interesting. See you soon.